I am here with Henry, the newest member of the Rebellionaire team, still finishing up his last semester in college, but working with us part-time and will be joining us full-time in January. For those who know Henry, he's at Henry Invests on X, has been posting some really quality content on a variety of stocks for a long time. But today we're talking about Upstart, the company Henry's been hot on for quite a while and which we've added for clients somewhat recently. They've got a very impactful quarter coming up, so we want to unpack that. But maybe, Henry, we can start with a little bit of an overview of the company for those who are not as familiar with Upstart.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Great to be here and excited to be starting at Rebellionaire. Upstart, very polarizing name. The core of what they do is applying AI and machine learning to credit underwriting with this idea that if they're able to better separate risk and quantify good and bad borrowers, they can on loans, which approves more people and allows them to have more pricing power because their underwriting is very differentiated. If you rewind back to the Upstart most people are going to be familiar with, which is 2021, this is a company that has really primarily an unsecured personal loan and an at-will capital base, meaning that the people that are funding Upstart's loans were able to do so as they please. If you fast forward to today, it's a very different business. Over 65% of their funding for these loans is in committed form, meaning partners can't just back out. And they've actually put out new products such as auto loans, HELOC loans, and even prime personal loans, which have been the center of a lot of controversy going into this earnings report because they've been putting some of those loans on their balance sheets. Upstart, as a core, is an AI lending platform. They're not a bank. They don't want to hold the credit risk. Ideally, they want to go into all these different financial institutions like credit unions and banks and even car dealerships and underwrite the loans and receive a transaction fee for doing that. So it's just a better way to identify risk within credit. They're taking agentic AI and all different forms of machine learning and applying it to a very internal proprietary data set to try and predict better credit outcomes.
One of the things that we really like as investors is companies that are leaning heavy into AI and are doing so in an industry which is maybe a little bit staid, a little bit stuck in their ways. A good thing for people to think about in the lending industry is how dominant FICO scores are and how that can be a heuristic for risk, but it's not necessarily pricing risk as accurately as an AI model could. Let's unpack that for a minute. Is that really at the core of their technology advantage here and how they are leading into AI?
The first thing I would say on AI for Upstart is 90% of their loans are automated. There's no human involved. So even if we're going to strip away the credit outcome process, there's a lot of automation in reducing the friction of getting a loan. For example, in Upstart's newest product, HELOC, normally that can take a couple of weeks. You go to a bank, sit down, they appraise the house, look at the documents, and then you're able to borrow against it. For Upstart, they're able to really refine that process down to just a few days. So that can really help increase and convert more borrowers as well, better user experience. Now, if we're talking about shaping credit outcomes, the idea is that Upstart is going to be able to better predict credit outcomes than FICO because FICO is this legacy dated way of thinking about credit risk. Really, it's not entirely comprehensive. It actually discriminates against people who have a thinner credit history. For example, something that Upstart has found to be the most predictive of somebody's creditworthiness is actually their education. So where they studied and what they studied gives a lot of insights into the behavioral profile of a borrower and can help Upstart predict whether or not they're going to repay their loans. So if you think about a quick example would be if there's two borrowers, borrower A and borrower B, and they both have a 700 FICO score, potentially in aggregate over the course of a 3-year loan, their default probability is 10%. But borrower A might be more likely to default in month 2 out of month 36, whereas borrower B might be more likely to default in month 30. So what FICO will do is they'll see the aggregate risk of those borrowers is the same, and as such, they'll price them the same. Upstart will look and say, borrower A is more likely to default earlier on in the loan. That's a greater risk of losing principal. So we're actually going to charge a higher interest rate. So that's dynamic underwriting. They're underwriting very specifically to each applicant. So they'll actually predict the likelihood of default and prepayment by month, whereas FICO only looks at the terminal state. And what happens is able to predict outcomes by month, well, your models start to have a faster feedback loop. And so you're able to deploy more strategies and newer models because you're able to get more insights a lot quicker than FICO. What Upstart has found is that their technology has allowed them to approve more borrowers at lower APRs because they're able to better separate that risk, which means that aggregate rates across the entire platform drop because you're avoiding more of the defaulters, and that increases conversion. And that's historically how they've grown. Of course, the Fed and other macro events will add fuel or water on that, but the core
Mhm.
way Upstart grows is by better underwriting.
Yeah, the market size here is enormous. And if their technology actually does what they say it can do, then it's only a matter of time to prove that out. I think the upside could be potentially quite enormous. You mentioned balance sheet concerns at the beginning of this recording. Double click on that for a minute. What have been some of the concerns that have reared their head historically, and how has management addressed those in the last couple of years?
Yeah, it's a great question. I want to hammer home that the Upstart today is very different from the Upstart of 2021. If we rewind back to that time period, you have Upstart growing with only an unsecured personal loan that is non-prime. So that's their core product. And people funding the loans, it's at will. So the funding can disappear immediately. When the Fed started to raise rates, that funding did disappear. Instead of not originating the loans, Upstart originated them and plugged them on their balance sheet in 2022. So you had this really bad situation of increasing credit risk because Upstart didn't have other people funding their loans. That's why the stock sold off sharply in May of 2022. And what people in the market saw is like a divergence from the core technology company business model. Now, if you fast forward to today, over 65% of their capital base is committed in long-term capital relationships, meaning partners are obligated to buy loans from Upstart for anywhere from 12 to 24 months in the future, forward flow agreements. So when you're talking about the balance sheet today, it's actually not the same group of loans that are on there. So in 2022, that's the non-prime personal loans. Today, what's happening is that core product for Upstart is actually well-funded. What's not well-funded are their new products, such as auto and HELOC loans, which are growing very rapidly at the same time. Management said that was not their intention and that it's a little bit of a good problem to have. But what it's done is it's forced Upstart to use a lot of their cash flow and plug these loans on their books for what they say is a testing incubation period, meaning they believe they need to get more data on how these loans are performing and a greater understanding of the interworkings of them before they can package them and sell them to third parties. Now, they gave a time frame of the end of the year for that, and I think that they're probably on track to do that. Dave Gerard, the CEO, gave some positive comments in that regard in September. But the market is very nervous about this because we've seen a lot of stress in non-prime auto loans, such as Tricolor's bankruptcy, and also some questions with Carvana and CarMax. And so right now, the market is very worried that a lot of the credit risk that Upstart holds is sitting there and maybe cannot be sold because institutional appetite won't be there for a lot of these unproven products in these turbulent times. And so that's why the market is a little bit giddy on the balance sheet going into this quarter.
I think there really are two vastly different business models. I mean, if technology actually works the way that we think it could, one path is to try to be a large bank and grow their balance sheet and in-house all these loans. The capital requirements for that path are a lot higher than if they're just working with third-party lending sources and being a platform where they're matching lenders with borrowers and are able to take a slice of that pie. If you have a capital light business model like that, you can grow much more quickly, and potentially there's a lot more operating leverage in your business model than if you are capital constrained and are holding these loans for a long time. The company is very clearly preferring the latter business model. The market would very clearly prefer that business model too. But to your point, they need to prove out some of this stuff as they're launching new product lines. They are balance sheeting some of that risk right now and holding it as they're essentially incubating the business. The market is very curious to see how quickly they're going to de-risk their own balance sheet and work with third parties. So what's your sense as we're looking ahead to Q3? They release next Tuesday, is that right?
Yep, that's correct.
What do you think the market is looking forward to? And what are your expectations as we're anticipating the earnings release on Tuesday?
Yeah, so if we look at Q2, Upstart grew revenue 102% year over year and flipped a $55 million net loss into a $6 million GAAP profit, while they also had a one-time large step up in SG&A expenses. So this is a business that flipped from net income negative to profitable on an accelerating top line, and the actual growth of the top line is also accelerating. So the business is doing really well. I think the question for the market is how sustainable is this business growth if it's going to require all of this upfront capital investments to fund and originate these loans that they're sticking on the balance sheet. I think the market is concerned that Upstart will have to temper back their growth in exchange to preserve some of their capital. Now, what didn't help that narrative for Upstart was the $500 million convertible note raise following last quarter's results. As we look into Q3, the market narrative is very scared. They're worried that Upstart is going to have to pull back on a lot of these originations because the institutional appetite for their new products like auto and HELOC is not really profound right now. In my view, I think those risks are a little bit overblown. We've talked about a lot of the transformation that Upstart has made over the past couple of years. You've got much more committed funding. You also have over 20% of quarterly originations now labeled as T prime, which are FICO 720 720 FICO score plus borrowers. The credit book of Upstart's business has been vastly diversified, and a majority of the direct credit risk now belongs in those new products. HELOC and auto loans are secured products. So if borrowers don't pay those back, there's an asset that acts as collateral, whereas an unsecured personal loan does not. Going back to your question about what the market is expecting, the market wants to see capital use in funding loans go down on the balance sheet. They want to get back to the capital light model. And if Upstart is able to do that, then the top line and the bottom line numbers would just be an added bonus. I think Upstart's in a scenario where they can come in with potentially a slight top line miss. The stock price would still react favorably if they reduce some of the credit risk on their balance sheet. Also, the market has to become more familiar and develop the point of view that they're a believer in Upstart's underwriting. Right now, the market is not really a believer in Upstart's underwriting, which is a fair assessment given where the company is coming from. But if we're looking into the future and we're looking at advancements outlined at AI Day in May, their investor day, in these models and how they're underwriting, we think that the loans on the books have less inherent credit risk than they did a few years ago. But the market ultimately is going to want to see that credit risk come down to reward the stock.
Yeah, I see so many parallels with Upstart and Lemonade. Just as you were talking about the skepticism that the market has, that their underwriting approach is better. It seems very similar to what Lemonade went through a couple of years ago, where their loss ratios were not super strong for a while, particularly as they were launching new products. Upstart was going from their core product to launching several other products. And when Lemonade went through a similar experience where they were branching out from their core pet and renters insurance into car insurance, into home insurance, what they found was their loss ratios were a lot higher because they didn't have history to be able to price that appropriately. As time went on, they got better and better, and you're able to prove that the loss ratios are sustainably coming down, and that validated their AI approach. To me, it's not surprising that Upstart would be on a similar journey where as they're launching new products and trying to get that data flywheel churning, maybe they've got some missteps along the way and things aren't as profitable as they were initially anticipating. I do believe that their overall approach works. I think their technical chops that they laid out at AI Day are legitimate. Even if this potentially is a step backwards in the next quarter, not that I'm expecting that it would be, I do believe in the overall approach that they have. And I think that's going to bear fruit in the long term. What do you think about the longer term opportunity?
This is trillions of dollars in TAM. It's about as big of an industry as you could possibly have. In theory, there is a world where Upstart could underwrite every loan in the economy. Banks, credit unions, and their partners will actually fund those loans, and Upstart would receive a fee for each loan originated. The potential is enormous. You're talking about all these different products they're launching: auto, HELOC, small dollar loans, purchase mortgage. Think about how impactful that will be. Also, some form of revolving credit. Upstart is rapidly changing from a one product company to a 5-product company. The end goal is building the foundational model for credit. Upstart has different underwriting models for different loans. So personal loans and small dollar loans are on the same underwriting model today, but auto has its own loan. Where they want to get is a place where every single loan for a borrower that's going to Upstart is underwritten on one machine learning model that's cross-referencing intelligence from the underwriting history of all different products. And that will allow the underwriting to get more accurate. And I think what we'll see are two things from that. We'll see, number one, Upstart will actually grow at increasing or growing margins as their underwriting gets better, which will help their take rates. And then number two, the Upstart become a larger brand. It's relatively unknown today, but the reason is because Upstart's being very deliberate with their marketing strategies. So they want to save a lot of their marketing dollars to deploy when they have more products. So we're looking at a potential scenario of trillions of dollars in TAM, a consumer-facing brand that's growing very rapidly. And if the technology is real and can actually approve more borrowers at lower APRs and better separate risk, which I think they can, I think if the product is good, eventually it will break through. And right now it seems to be in the scaling phase. And these new products on the other side of it, I think will do a lot of great things for Upstart's business.
We think that the stock has been beat up a lot more than is warranted. We're pretty optimistic about Q3, but are much more believers in the long-term technology advantage that this company has and the future that they're building. It just seems clear to me that the market needs a better mousetrap than FICO scores. I think Upstart has the goods. If the technology really is that good, then I think it's inevitable that the market will move in that direction. Appreciate all your work on this, Henry. Thanks for your time today. And that will say bye for now.
For now.